Hey guys, welcome to another Tinker video. So today I'm gonna start with a project that I had in mind for quite some time now. So it's about creating a fully DIY security system. Now don't think about something like Pentagon level security or something like that, because obviously that's not what we want to do, and obviously if you have so valuable stuff that you need really state-of-the-art security, then you won't turn to DIYs. So what I want to do is something that is still able to stop let's say basic robbery, like something breaks into your apartment and snatches your stuff. So this project hopefully will be 3 to 5 video series, and this part is about listing the requirements and what we want to see, what we want to achieve, and doing creating a basic shopping list for parts. For starter, I will try to use parts that I already have at home, so I don't have to wait. For stuff to arrive from China. But eventually, if it turns out something is missing, then I will have to wait, and if that makes further videos in this series delayed, then I apologize for that. Okay, so as with every normal project, we should have a list of requirements, and I want to talk about that a bit. So obviously this is a DIY project, and I want to make it as cheap as possible. Which means that we won't start with something like HD, a set of HD cameras or something like that. We will first restrict our functionality to movement detection and the detection of open doors and so on. Okay, then what is important is to have power redundancy, because it's way too easy to kill a security system if the bad guy just can flip a switch, turn off electricity in your house, and there goes your security system. So what I want to see is something like a UPS, an uninterruptible power supply behind the whole thing. Then obviously I want to make this system extendable, so at some point we will reach the end of the limits of its capabilities, but I still want to make it extensible. Like, you can add cameras, you can integrate it with your existing IoT infrastructure, for example with Home Assistant, or we should be able to interface it with, for example, Amazon Echoes or something like that. I also want to have the whole thing running on a separate Wi-Fi network, so it's harder to hack, and also redundant, because it's running the whole thing on a redundant power supply. Okay, and finally what I want to achieve is that it should be able to send you at least SMS notifications or emails or something like that without your home Wi-Fi. So again, if your home Wi-Fi goes down, if your home power goes down, this system should be still able to function at some level. Okay, so that's so much about the requirements. Now let's switch to my workbench and let's see the parts list. Okay, so we are at my workbench, and now let's see what we will need to create this security system. So first of all, according to my plans, it will consist of a central unit, which is basically a control unit, and a few standalone, whatever should I call it, basically the surveillance units with the movement sensor and so on. So the central unit will be based on a Raspberry Pi 3. This should be enough to run all the software which is needed. By the way, according to the plans, every piece of software used in this whole project will be either open source and already available, or something that is implemented as part of the project. For the latter, I will post every source code, every piece of source code on GitHub, so it shouldn't be a problem for you to get it. Okay, so back to the parts list. As I said, the central unit will be based on a Raspberry Pi, and the other units will be based on Node MCUs that I already have. And we will obviously need the movement sensors. So these are pretty small PIR sensors, which should be enough for our purpose, but I haven't really tried these and I'm not really convinced, because if you check out commercial systems you will see that there are much larger sensors used in those for this purpose. So I'm, let's say, 50% convinced that these will work out nicely, and it is also possible that I will have to order some larger sensors or sensors with other parameters. Anyway, we will see. Obviously, to host those standalone units, we will need some project boxes. These are just plastic boxes, perfect to hold any Node MCU based project. I will just cut these to host the PIR sensors. And then what else? We will need a couple of protoboards for obviously the circuitry of these standalone units. Then we will use a couple of colorful LEDs for status display, like power on, like if the unit is armed, and so on. And obviously we will need power, so we will need a lot of power supplies. Also for the Raspberry Pi, in later phases of the project, I plan to introduce some kind of UPS, and this is something that I don't really have at hand and I need to research, so I will get back to that later. So as you might have guessed, this project is not just any project to me, but also a set of experiments at the same time, which means that even though I have some kind of plan and something like a roadmap in my mind at the moment, we might steer away from it in the future as the implementation progress goes on. This is simply because there are stuff that I cannot foresee at the moment, compatibility problems with various parts, or problems with software implementation or whatnot. But roughly, here's what I have in mind. So the next video will concentrate on creating one surveillance unit. These are the smaller Node MCU based units responsible for recording and sending sensor data. Then the next video after that will concentrate on establishing the software environment for the central unit and setting up network connections and so on. Basically not much hardware work involved in case of a Raspberry Pi. It's just already there. So it will be mainly about installing required software and so on. What comes after next? Well, a good question. Probably it will be some kind of testing and tweaking phase with the various sensors and so on. And after that we can reach the point where we decide to extend the whole system or tweak it even further and so on. So yeah, as you can see, I don't have a roadmap set in stone, just a bunch of ideas that I would like to share. I'm really excited about this experiment, so I hope it will work out nicely. Okay guys, I don't want to take any more of your time. Thanks for watching this so far, thanks for joining me, and if you like this video or any other video on the channel, please hit subscribe. I'm still a newbie YouTuber, so it helps me a lot. Thanks in advance. So, hoping to see you next time. See ya!